So we will start with the approval of the June, I think it's June 3rd, committee meeting minutes. And have a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Okay, and so the minutes are approved. We're good on the roll call, and I'll turn it over to Josh to go through his information for us.
Tonight, I just wanted to briefly cover some budget updates on the state and federal side. There's been a lot of news and a lot of confusion that's been out there in some of the headlines over the course of the summer. One was regarding our federal funding. So right on June 30th, the White House announced that it would not be releasing Title II, Title III, and Title IV funding. All of the applications were shut down for school districts, and it was questionable whether we would ever receive any of that money. As of last Friday on August 1st, the headline was announced that the White House would release the $230 million of Title II, Title III, and Title IV funding. That funding amounts to about $175,000 for the districts. So we're excited that that money is back in play. We were already contingency planning on how we were going to address that funding gap. So that's one positive update. On the state side, I don't have any great updates other than the budget is still not passed. We received notification from the state that because of the lack of passage of a budget, we would no longer be receiving any cash flows from the state of Pennsylvania until the budget was finalized. So all of our basic and special ed funding is frozen. All of our subsidy payments, our Social Security and PSERS reimbursement are all frozen. And all of our federal payments, because they flow through the federal government, although authorized by the federal government, will not be dispersed until the state budget is completed. So that's what that means for Cheltenham School District. So a significant amount of money in play. And there hasn't been a lot of information or news coming out of the budget process. There hasn't been a lot of public announcements on either side, Republican or Democrat, about where the negotiations are headed. There were some rumors that the charter school tuition reform was in essence off the table and won't be part of this year's budget, which was disappointing to hear. But given historical precedent, not all that surprising. So on this slide, I included a graph which very much mirrors our revenue collection trend, just to show our cash flow trend. So even though we won't have state revenue coming into our coffers at this point in time, we do collect most of our real estate taxes in August, September, and October. So our cash flow is quite solid up until we get to the latter part of the year. I think the state understands that, and that's why they oftentimes will not approve their budget in July or August and wait till sometime after. So I didn't want to create any sort of wanted to answer any questions about cash flow and worries of us being able to pay our bills. There are no worries. We're in a good cash and we're in a good financial position. Any questions on the state or federal budget?
Just the Title II, Title III, and Title IV funds specifically, just generally speaking, I know folks might look back at the meeting, may just go online and research them, but just good for the public is that what do those specific titles mean for us in Cheltenham?
We use Title II funding for class size reduction and supports the classroom, including professional development for teachers. Title III is used for English language learners, immigrant students. The $8,600 we receive is the direct financial aid we receive. We actually receive quite a bit of services from the IU that's funded by Title III as well. That doesn't come in the form of direct monetary payment. And Title IV is primarily used for professional development for our teachers, for education teachers, and advancement education.
Thank you. Appreciate the context.
Zachary has his hand raised. Yes, go ahead, Zachary.
Thank you. Appreciate the context around the timing. I know I had sent a similar question a couple of weeks ago because I think some school districts are not in the same position as us and are actually, I think, having some conversations around borrowing. So it's helpful to know, like I guess we have another month before I guess our conversation shift. It does take me back to the legislative committee. I think some of the worst, some of the worst assumptions around the dates are looking like reality. I think we heard September around May or June, and that was going to be unfortunate, but that unfortunately is looking like the timeline. So I appreciate the context as well, also for our community. We do talk about our taxes and the burden that we have, but in some ways that's why in the position we're in now. It's unfortunate we have to have up to 89%, but it's helpful to know that most of our revenue, which comes from local, is still going to come in on time as well. So appreciate the context, and I'll pause there.
I don't see any other hands raised. Any other questions? All right, turning it back over to you, Josh.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, sorry. I do have a follow-up. I guess if there is no agreement, there's an agreement in the House, I guess, and then we're waiting on the Senate to possibly decide. But when September comes, if there's still no agreement, are we going to be thinking about borrowing at that? Or is it too premature to think about that right now, or is that the position we will be in September? Or
No, I don't think there in our near future we would need to resort to borrowing to fund our finances. I think we have some time before that. There are some districts that receive 70-80% of their funding from federal and state sources. Those are primarily the districts that are very significantly impacted by this lack of passing a budget, and that doesn't include Cheltenham School District. The biggest impact to us right now is obviously we try and maximize the amount of return on all of our investments in our cash accounts. So any delay in that certainly hurts us in a much more negligible way, which isn't positive, but not to the extent of some other districts that are less fortunate throughout the Commonwealth.
that's helpful. I actually didn't realize what types of school districts specifically were being impacted. The article didn't go that far, but you're saying it's literally ones that are 80% federally funded. That's what I heard.
State and federally funded.
State and federally funded. Okay. Cool.
All right, I don't see any other hands raised.
The next item up review is items for approval. Next meeting. So we have a number of equipment items that need to be approved for our food service department coming out of the food service fund. We have several steamers. You may be asking, why do we have 2 steamers at high school and need to be replaced? Well, we had one steamer that hadn't worked all year and another one that's on its last legs. So we need to replace both to get our kitchen back up to capacity. Some of these pieces of equipment are semi-functioning or barely functioning, and some are not functioning at all, like the steam table, one of the convection ovens. So all of these pieces of equipment come to an approximate cost of $96,000, which is funded out of the cash account of the food service fund. So that will be up for approval next week. Also for approval, we did have one minor change order for the partial roof replacement at the high school, and that was for 3 items primarily. There were a lot of damaged bricks that need to be replaced. There was a lot of very old mortar bricks that need to be replaced to prevent moisture and water from coming behind the existing masonry. And so part of that $41,000 change order is to repoint and replace brickwork. There is also insufficient water drainage coming from that brick. So a hydroshed coating needs to be applied to the outside of the brick, top of the roof, so that moisture doesn't get behind the brand new roof and void our warranty. So that's the one change order and only change order we have for the partial roof replacement project. And per board policy, I believe we approved every change order over $10,000 at the board level. So original cost of the roofing contract was $1,458,000, and this change order would be $1,500,000 approximately. Any questions on the legislative items?
Josh, I'm seeing heads nodding no, and no hands raised over here.
Right,
Any
very
questions
good.
from Jenny or Charles?
No.
Okay.
Sure.
And that's it. That's everything I have. So very light agenda for you.
Cool.
All right. And I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh,
All right. The
I'll
meeting is
second,
adjourned.
just for the record.
Oh, you know what? We do need a second, don't we?
I did the
Quick.
second. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
I got you. I got you. Zachary
That's not
second.
here.
All right. So the meeting is adjourned.